What's going on, YouTube? This is The Last Musketeer, and welcome to the last part of the finale of the Arknights free-to-play Is It Worth It series. A bit of a mouthful there, but we're going in right where we left off, and this is actually Chapter 5, Stage 10. Now, the scary part about this is that there are not just one boss, as you see Mephisto there, healing all these units, which is incredibly annoying, by the way. Faust actually walks through the top right corner at some point and starts nuking down your latest placed operator. So he does an insane amount of damage, really needs anyone that he's attacking to have a lot of sustain on them. I don't beat this stage yet because I'm going to work on it in this next week. I try a couple different runs just to see where I can get to and make sure that I see every enemy that I possibly can. But right here, I'm going to throw Thorns down, trying to get him down early so that I can get his skill 3 active for the infinite duration as quick as possible. And he's also going to be able to do some good damage to Mephisto in between the enemies that he's attacking that are running up. So he does enough damage that he kills them very quickly. Mephisto's already halfway down. The enemies that he's healing are very, very low. And as you see here, he was about to get hit with the third hit from the sledgehammer guy and go down, but luckily it was enough to keep him alive. Now the problem is Faust walks out right after that moment, and I'm not prepared at all for this. So now I'm having to quick drop my units to keep these lanes safe. I can't deploy medics because they get insta-nuked by Faust. And so I'm literally in scramble mode at this point. But I'm trying to get as far as I can in the practice just to see. Now, Mephisto has gone down. Thorns did take care of Mephisto, as he's taken care of a lot of this lane so far. But it just wasn't enough. So I'm going to have to experiment a little more, and hopefully I can figure something out in the coming days for a way to beat that, because I want to do it with my owner operators. Obviously, I could probably put somebody in that's going to nuke pretty heavily and get it done that way, but doing it with my own operator lineup will be a much more satisfying feeling in the long run. So after being bullied a lot, I went over to the Code of Brawl event storyline and decided to finish out the ones on that. If you watched my stream last week, I think it was, I actually opened this stage and did a few of them on stream. So we're going back and running some of the ones that I haven't completed yet, because this will be a bit of a time for me to chill out and think a bit less when it comes to the stages, at least until I get to my favorite boss coming up. But right now I'm just using Thorns to clear most of the waves, and a bottom lane is the only one I really have to focus on and make sure that while that guy is rushing that I have someone there to block the other guys. So Gabriel is in that position. I turn on her ability to do a lot of damage to the rusher to make sure that he goes away before the other guys move forward. Otherwise, I'm going to lose because he requires 3 blocks. So there's a lot of things to worry about in these stages. They're not really all that hard. It's all about your lineup, your placement, and your timing on these, as I still do make quite a few mistakes on these. But top left for Thorns, Myrtle and Courier are my DP generators for this. Courier's rarely going to block anybody here, but the extra block he does give in that position will be nice, at least moving forward. Gabriel on the right side so that I can take out anyone that's pushing through. Just any Saturnian that you actually use will be really, really good in this situation. Now, those guys that walk through with these sledgehammers are a pain. I forget about them all the time, and then I end up placing Stewart on that left side, and he just gets obliterated by the guy that walks through the door. I think it's very imperative, especially for me going forward, to pay attention to the timing of when things walk out when I'm doing practice, so it's a lot easier to figure out my planning around that. But I put Firewatch in Stewart's position because once she has that invis, even if that guy walks through and targets her first, she's not going to be able to get hit because she does have the invis with her ability. So I'm saving that for the time being. Now, I almost mess up here, and I had to get rid of Courier as fast as possible and put Cardigan up there because the blocker was running through Gummy since she already had someone blocking. So luckily, I got that out in time, just barely, because he's halfway onto the other tile. That would have been a really sad way to lose. But moving on to the actual hard stage, and this is my favorite boss so far. He's very, very annoying, but he has some of the most interesting mechanics out of all of them. He's not just one of those guys like Faust, for instance, who walks through and just bullies me because he has that ability. He's one of those bosses that has a lot of different caveats that you can play well around if you pay attention to how the skill works. Now, I did fail this multiple times, and I try to show some of the failures. This one being the first, or maybe second one. Then I show another loss right after that because, of course, I lose again. Oh, and also, I want to say, whoever made the click voice line when you lose where she says my lens broke, that Japanese voice actor does a fantastic job. That thing is actually the saddest thing to hear. So shame on you whenever that comes through. I hate hearing that line, and every time it pops up, it makes me feel so bad because it's the saddest sound that comes out. But either way, moving on the stage, Rat King has two abilities that he casts globally. One of them being a nuke that hits the highest HP operator. In this case, Gabriel has it on her currently. The other one on Myrtle, which does area effect damage that lasts a little bit of time and lowers their attack during the execution of it. So anything around that area is going to take tick damage and also going to be lower attack. So basically the way I did this is I put Cardigan up top to take the heavy nuke because she has a heal on her kit and I don't have to focus quite as much because she's on a healing pad as well. You also have to be aware that it lands, does the nuke to her, and does the nuke to everyone in like a plus pattern. So if you have anyone around them, they're also going to take damage. So a single target healer being in the same vicinity is not going to work if you have multiple people. So you've got to kind of plan around that. But they do give you the regeneration tabs, and Cardigan being able to heal herself is really good. So somebody like Spot would probably be a lot better in this situation. Gummy would be better in that situation, but I did put Gummy bottom because I knew she was going to have to tank Rat King first. So with Rat King stuck here, Thorn's doing damage. I'm going to just place as many people as I can down to do a lot of damage to him, just to get him out of there. And I should have probably taken some other ones out. Thorns would have been the one I would have taken out first, and I should have. But you gotta be careful with who you take out just to make sure that you don't take out the ones that are tanking the damage from his skills, because then that could devolve into having a really bad time going forward. But either way, we got Mystima out and we got Gabriel out, so while they're sitting fighting bottom, Stewart's doing some extra damage. Gummy is self-sustaining decently well, along with Shining, keeping her alive. And then Mystima, I'm going to place down, and I'm also going to put Gabriel down last little bit just to do that extra little damage, clear it a little bit faster. But that is the Rat King down, and that is my favorite boss fight thus far. It's actually such a cool boss fight. It has really cool abilities that you really have to pay attention to as he comes in. But as far as the other content, I'm going to show you one more Annihilation mission at the end of it. But for now, I'm going to show my actual progress and talk a little bit about some things that I go through here. So the main thing is I've got one E2 6-star. I've got some of them that are... The one I'm taking up next is going to be Gabriel for sure, for the extra block that she gains off that, and the extra damage is going to be nice. Her skill 3 will be really good in certain situations, but she has a very interchangeable kit, unlike Thorns, who S3 is his basically only skill that you're really going to use. But my Vanguards are looking alright. I need to work on them next. I need to get one stronger, so hopefully when I get Texas pretty soon, I can work her up and get her going, because she'll be really nice added to this. The defense, my defenders, I need Cora to level up, and I also am hopefully to get Mudrock pretty soon. So that's going to be a big upgrade to that. Snipers haven't really changed at all since I leveled up Firewatch in the previous video, so I'm gonna have to really work up stuff. Cruz has been getting a lot of play, so it'll be nice having like Blue Poison or somebody being a bit stronger after that. Casters haven't really changed much, though Amaya I'm going to try to work up pretty soon because I do need her upgraded. The medics haven't really changed, though there's 3 I'm looking at. Silence, Pure Stream, and Honeyberry are my main 3 that I need to really work on. Cicero I could as well, but Honeyberry for the elemental heal is going to be massive for a lot of the content that I do. Supporters haven't really changed, though may get some love here soon. Padinko potentially, and as far as specialists, Jay and Ethan are 2 that I'm really looking forward to using a bit more, because I did try Ethan in the Annihilation mission that I show you later. He's actually such a cool hero, but Jay I would like to get E2 pretty soon. Now, the campaign, I got all the way to 510 in the 5 weeks that I played this. I could have gone farther, potentially, but having the time to do that, it does take quite a bit of time mapping out these stages and planning them out and figuring out where I want to go from there. Now the side missions I've done decently well. I've got a few of them unlocked, a few of them that are basically almost completely done. And so I've got a lot of the rewards from there. Got the free 5 stars from each of those so far, so that's been really nice. Now distinctions is the big thing. I need 35 more to get Mudrock, and I have, by the time of this video, 11 days to do that. So it's going to be a bit hard. I might have to ground out a lot of OP just to use on the pools, which I don't necessarily want to do, but Mudrock is very, very good, and it will be very good for my account. Now this is what my base looks like currently, and as you can see here, I get my first mastery rank for the Destreza skill, so I'm going to also take it to specialization 2 here pretty soon, and I'll show you everything on that. But there's a lot that I still need to work on the base. There's a lot of things I need to do, and as you can see here in the pinboard missions, I've got finally to the last part where you can see Texas. So Texas will be the next pickup. I don't know if this is the last phase or not. I hope there's more, because the rewards are so nice, but I'm not expecting to run into any more. But we only have 2 more to go. One of them's the specialization skill to level 2, which is coming up pretty soon, and the other one's add a 3rd support unit, which I don't know how to do that. I don't know if it's based on player level or if it's based on something in the base. If people could let me know on that so I can figure that out as soon as possible. I want to try to get Texas within this next week if viable, but I don't know if I'm going to have restrictions there. But you see here, I was short 3 of those, and those are very hard to get actual resources. So what I did was, from the last event, we got some stuff for the shop, because I couldn't get 300 obviously to pull something unless you're spending money. So the extra ones I got went into the headhunting parametric models, and with that I had 420 of them. Nice. But I use it to buy 3 more of those, so we get his skill to master rank 2, which is going to be huge. The extra damage and attack speed really does make a big difference. So once that one's done, we'll be lacking 1 for Texas. I also take him to 20. I could have taken him farther, but I think 20 is a good number to stop at for the time, and just save my resources for everyone else, because there are a lot of things I still have to do. Now, with that being said, guys, I'm going to play the video out to this, and maybe talk about a couple things that I think of during the time. But this one I borrowed support Ling, because Ling seems to be incredibly good for the stage, because everything you destroy in this breaks down into usually multiple pieces, some of them just one really tanky piece. And so what I'm doing is I'm making sure I have enough DP for this deployment, putting Thorns on the left lane to try to deal with some of that, and I'm also going to put Ethan there, just so I can try to bind units that are getting past. And also he does insane amounts of damage to these little things that go through. Mainly there's just a lot of them. They're not that tanky, so he's very, very good for clearing on this. I put Perfumer down to get a little bit extra regen for Ling's dragon, or little serpents. I'm using one to block the stairs. I'm going to have one blocking in front of where Courier is, and trying to upgrade both of them. So I haven't fully figured out how to run this map, but I got decently far in it. Didn't get the full 400, spoilers, but probably not expecting me to do that anyway, but I'll figure out more as time goes on. And you know, really it's finding a healer that can keep those serpents alive long enough, because later on they start taking a ton of damage, and replacing them is hard. So I really got to figure out a way to do that. Maybe I can find some support units or some type of healer that just does a ton of passive healing that will help me a lot more. E2ing Perfumer obviously will be a big help, but that's a bit down the road. But anyway, with that out of the way, guys, I just want to talk for a moment about the overall experience, because it's all down to the finale of what I need to actually really discuss and go over of my overall experience with this game. Obviously, everyone knows at this point that I love this game and I highly recommend it. So as a free-to-play, is it worth it? Yes, 100%. You're going to be able to do whatever you want, basically clear all content with whatever units the game gives you, basically just freely from playing and doing summons. It's super easy to get everything you want. Yeah, obviously it's going to be a little harder to get a full collectible account getting these 6 stars, but you don't necessarily need them. There are a lot of like 3s and 4 stars that are basically budget versions of the 6 stars that you see through the game. Some of the 6 stars are going to be absolutely nuts and will be like account changing when you get them. Thorns, I think, is one of those, and I got lucky to get him, but there are a lot of them that are usable but not like super crazy, so you can use budget versions to do basically every content in this game. So that's a definite plus with that. But also, you know, just the overall character deep dives. They have so much information on each character. There's so much lore to discover in this game. So if you're a person that loves lore, absolutely so much for you to go over in this. The strategic part of the game is incredibly dense. There are constant strategies that I'm figuring out and different ways to clear each map, as I've talked about before. So you're gonna have plenty of things to work on and plenty of things to try out. Maybe you want to try in the future doing some like challenge runs like I want to do. It's very, very fulfilling, and honestly you're gonna have a hard time of running out of things to actually do in the game. Integrated Strategies is an event that was a part-time, it was a limited event that they ended up adding to the core game just because of how good it was. So if you run out of energy or sanity in this case, you can then go into Integrated Strategies and run that as much as you want. Other things like Contingency Contract seems to be as much as you want as well. So it's not like one of those games where you'd use all your energy daily and then you have nothing else to do, and it just becomes more like a job, just logging in and grabbing the daily stuff. This is fully fleshed out, has so much for you to do, and you could honestly play this game for 24 hours and never run out of things to do, at least for a long time, until your count gets to the point where you know, you've beaten everything. Which in that case you can start doing challenging runs, and when they have new events, you get new events, you do your dailies, whatever it may be. But as far as I've gone, I still have so much content that I haven't even been able to touch. So I've got a long time to go. The progression videos will come out every week as before, and I'll start dropping some other vids. As you see there, I have my first leak on this one, so already not a guarantee. Well, unless this one goes past 400. Sometimes there's more to take out than the actual requirement to get to 400, but a lot of the stages you have to get all of them without a leak, so we'll see what happens. But either way, at the end of the day, I've absolutely fell in love with this game, and I love the community, and I thank you guys so incredibly much for your support. I say it every video. I'll continue to say it until you know, I inevitably can't play this game anymore, you know. Regardless, I'm going to stick around, and we're gonna get farther. We're gonna see what we can do, and I'm gonna try to put out as much videos and as good a content as I possibly can for you guys. So I'm excited to see what the future holds and what I can manage to do, and hopefully get some crazy pulls. I really want to focus on getting some support ones that buff my units, just so I can make Arknights be a crazy series. That would be really, really fun. So I propped this game up pretty high. Obviously, I gave it a lot of support, so I have to give it some cons at some point. So what would I think when I'm talking about cons? Well, potentially there's only probably 1 or 2 things that I can think of. One being that it is a strategy game that requires a lot of thinking at times. Now, there are a lot of guides out there if you don't want to go through that whole situation, but I do recommend playing through your own volition, through your own strategies, because it's a lot more fun and a lot more rewarding in an emotional sense. The thing about it is, guys, I am a complete moron, so if I can do this stuff, you can do this stuff. it may take some time to do it, and that goes into the second con, which is your time constraints. If you don't have a lot of time, it makes it a little harder to strategize and map things out to get things done. The dailies and weeklies are very fast, so don't worry about that. That's not going to be a hard thing to do. It's just you are going to have to put in a decent amount of time per day to get all the content that you want to get done. So if you don't have a lot of time, it's going to be a little harder. You have to play them a little more casually. It'll take you some time getting up, but either way, getting your dailies and stuff done does not feel like a job. It is very quick. So I absolutely recommend trying it out regardless, so that you can have the opportunity to try something this good like I did. But as far as I can think, that's basically all I can think of. I mean, anybody can make arguments for the gacha aspect of it, but you don't need the high-level units. That's why I say it's not a bad deal. And there's all these different ways that you can earn summons or skins, anything like that, so you have plenty of options. So that, to me, is not a con. I think that is a good utilization of the system. But anyway, guys, I've ranted enough, I think. I'm going to end the video here. I appreciate you all sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.